What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake MLB DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And of course, I'm from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on all the social media platforms listed above or directly at WiseTake.com. If you're looking to take your DFS game to the next level, we are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to help make you a better DFS player. Go check us out. WiseTake.com. Day passes available. All that shit. If you're new to this channel, welcome. You've come to the right place with some free DFS content, free DFS content. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications bell. Don't miss out on any of the free content we put out. Covering slates Monday through Friday for MLB the rest of the season. Right. Cover NBA. In the midst of that, we'll kick NBA back up next year, and then NFL, of course. So appreciate you. Please hit the like button. It goes a long way. Really helps us out. Like, share, any of that shit. Really helps us out. The more that we grow, the more we're able to put back into our content. So we are relying on the nation to get shit done. There. Hopefully you all had a happy Mother's Day. Whether you are a mother or a mother lover, we do wish you a happy Mother's Day from the WiseTake Nation. We are definitely pro mothers, you know what I'm saying? We love mothers at the WiseTake Nation. So shout out to all the moms out there. And all the dads or the men who support those moms. Because it's necessary. All right. So we've got a 6-game slate. FanDuel and DraftKings both locking a little earlier. 6:35 p.m. Eastern. So you're going to have to get shit ready. Obviously, both sites have late swap available, so you can do what you need to do. But no excuses. Because as I like to say, excuses are like assholes. Everyone's got them, and they all stink. All right. Let's go ahead and get in. Starting off with the top pitchers. Starting off with top pitchers. Gotta put up my stats. I always forget to show you guys the stats. Here we go. We got 2021 on the board. And there's two guys that stand out amongst the rest. I'm not talking about the Nelson Lamet, who has a 4-inning sample and is in cores. I'm talking about Alex Wood with a 2.82 xFIP, a 25.6% K rate, 63% ground ball rate. In San Francisco, very pitcher-friendly park. And Tyler Mahle, 3.55 xFIP, 32.8% K rate. Playing Pittsburgh, one of the worst offenses in the league in Pittsburgh, one of the better pitching parks in the league. So those two guys stand out. The rest of it gets risky, right? You can play the matchup, or you can play to how the pitcher has performed, but you're not too comfortable with anything. And we're still missing a couple pitchers. We'll have to see. Right? It's the night before, currently 10:12 p.m. Eastern, so we'll have to see. But in the meantime, based off what we do have to work with on this first look show, these two pitchers stand out amongst the rest. And it's hard to accept that these two pitchers are the ones. Earlier this season, Tyler Mahle was massive chalk. And I went underweight, like drastically underweight. And I got burned because he did really well. I'm not saying that that's the situation that we are necessarily going to be in on this slate. Especially if we look at the numbers from last year. Alex Wood last year had a 5.69 xFIP. A 23% K rate. Tyler Mahle had a 4.59 xFIP, though he did have a 29.9% K. We know Mahle can strike dudes out. We know that. We also know he gives up a ton of fly balls, has a tendency to walk people, and gives up a lot of hard contact. But it just so happens Alex Wood is facing the Rangers, who have been hot, by the way, but a lot of that has come in their ballpark. And even so, as you can see, the Rangers still 294 team WAR, 149 ISO, 25.9% strikeout rate, one of the highest in the league. So yeah, I think it's hard. On the one hand, it's hard to say that these two pitchers are to believe that they're pitching as well as they have this year. When you look at last year's numbers and previous years, but at the same time, it's the best we have to work with, because when you go down this list, it's not pretty. Luke Weaver does play Miami, 6.07 ERA, 4.33 xFIP. So obviously his ERA is significantly higher than his xFIP. It's not terrible, but he's not a stud, right? He's playing Miami. He's got that going for him. But Miami can't sleep on him. They went to the playoffs last year. It's sort of a joke, but I don't feel comfortable pivoting off these two guys that have much higher strikeout upside to him. I don't feel that much more comfortable picking on Miami opposed to picking on Texas with a lefty in San Francisco and picking on the Pirates with a righty in Pittsburgh. Kyle Gibson, I think another one. ERA looks good. xFIP is not terrible. Sierra, we're getting up there, right? Playing a San Francisco team that I think is in first place in their division currently and has been very scrappy. But he does have a good park rolling with him. So you see the options just get terrible as you go on. So as of right now, those two guys stand out like massively compared to the rest. As far as top offenses go, I can tell you what the chalk offense is going to be, and that could be difficult on DraftKings for people that are planning on playing Alex Wood and Tyler Mahle together. Even if you work in Weaver in the mix, there's just not a lot of cheap guys that'll help you, right? There is one. I don't have him on this sheet, and the reason I don't have him on this sheet, we'll have it under things to watch. But anyway, we'll talk about it. But Miami is looking at a bullpen game. Just gonna put that out there, right? But we're going on top offenses, and the Padres are in Coors against Antonio Senzatella, who apparently is coming off of his little injured list, IL, right? The injured list, 10-day deal. He's coming back to make this start. He's been terrible. Maybe his xFIP and Sierra indicate he hasn't been as bad as his ERA indicates, but we think he's a bad pitcher. Now, he does have ground ball rates, etc., but this game is in Coors. And the Padres are supposed to be one of the top offenses in the league, so expect the Padres to be very popular, and for good reason. They are the optimal offense on this slate. It's funny because I think the next offense is probably going to, for me anyway, is going to be Cincinnati Reds. Mitch Keller's coming off a pretty good game. But he still has a 5.02 xFIP and a 5.10 Sierra. Did Keller pitch here last year? Last year, as you could see, 2.91 ERA, but a 6.57. I just don't think this guy's any good. I just don't. And so the Reds offense, we go over to their numbers. One of the better power numbers on the slate, 188 ISO. They do strike out, and their WOBA isn't as high as you'd like, but I think they're the highest ISO on the slate currently. I don't like the park either. So we like the park for Mahle. Obviously, we're not going to love it a ton for his offense, but I think the Reds and the Padres right now, to me, are two of the offenses that stand out. I think you could argue the same for, we're going to get into the things to watch. And the reason that these two teams, or a few teams, whatever, are in things to watch is because for this particular show, is because we don't know for sure if these guys are pitching. It's a combination of DraftKings assuming, combination of following notes, but MLB Probables page doesn't necessarily have these guys in, so it's not official with some of these guys, right? And by the way, for those asking about or wondering about Dinelson Lamet, he's pitched 2 innings in 2 games, and then he went on and then he got hurt. I don't think he's pitching very much. I'm just saying that. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think he's pitching I think we see 50, 60 pitches, something like that. Maybe that's what I think. Anyway. If it's Jose Suarez, if Jose Suarez does pitch for the Angels, he's given up a ton of homers. Last season, I got to figure out why it's not giving me last season's numbers for him, because he did pitch a pretty good amount last season. It's probably just a name correction issue I'll fix. But if it's him, he got called up. We don't know for sure if he's starting, but if it is him, last year, he had 15 starts with the Angels. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. This was 2019. 2019, he had 15 starts with the Angels. Right? He hasn't pitched yet this year. Last year, he barely pitched 2 innings. In those 15 starts in 2019, in that 19 total appearances, he had a 2.56 home run per 9. This is massive. He had a 7.11 ERA and a 5.71 xFIP. Some of the worst numbers you'll see for a guy that started that many games. So maybe he's improved. I don't know. I don't see a ton of numbers. We've had the COVID thing, so if he wasn't pitching in the majors, then he really wasn't pitching against real competition, I don't think. But hypothetically, he'd be facing the Astros, who have a lot of right-handed power. They've been heating up, and they're one of the toughest teams to strike out. They put the ball in play. So the Astros would definitely become one of the top stacks if it's him. But we don't know if it's him. Right? Another thing to watch is, and to be clear, I skipped over one other offense. I apologize. So I'm going to go top offenses. I did forget to mention the Boston Red Sox against Jorge Lopez. I think this will be pretty popular. And for good reason. Boston's offense looks good. Did not mean to discredit them. And this is in one of the best hitting parks in the game out in Baltimore. So make that clear. Boston, Padres, and the Reds are the 3 offenses that stood out to me the most. Right? I assume they'll be the 3 most popular offenses, especially the Padres. But those are the ones that I think Padres and Boston, and then from there maybe it would bleed over into the Reds. Probably not as much the Reds, but anyway. I think that, get that out there. As far as things to watch, what I was looking for was the Miami situation. So, that's what we're looking at here. Let me see here what we're looking at here. So, according to DraftKings, this should be a Detweiler opening, followed by a Holloway long relief appearance. Holloway looked good against Arizona, by the way, right? When he saw them last time. 2 walks, 3 Ks, 3 ground balls, 3 fly balls, 61 pitches, 3 innings. Went for 14 at 4K. So there's a couple of different ways. If this is true, if we felt like we can bet on this being true, there's 2 ways to look at this. Number 1, Arizona is in a bullpen game, right? So then what we do is go to WiseTake.com for a WiseTake Nation subscriber, and we look at the bullpen stats, right? These bullpen stats are over at the site WiseTake.com under the MLB section. But this is not actually supposed to be a plug. Just wanted to show you guys what the bullpens were like. And as of right now, when we look at this sorted by xFIP currently, highest to lowest, that's what I sorted it as. You can sort it whatever you want. But Cincinnati's bullpen has been the worst by far. Or not by far. They've been the worst. Followed by St. Louis. I think this will change. We have a small sample. So throughout the season, it'll change. Point being, where's Miami? Miami, after having one of the worst bullpens in the league last year, is currently not ranking so poorly. Right, 4.1 xFIP is not great, but it's certainly better than it was. So maybe if we don't want to use the D-backs bats against him, which I'm not saying we don't, maybe we do. We got to dig on this kid a little bit more and find out if we really think this is going to happen. I've noticed this year these long relief situations have been terribly inaccurate. When we're told that this person's a long reliever, it's been pretty inaccurate. So we'll have to see. But if you do think it's him, maybe you take a shot on a 4K pitcher on DraftKings as your SP2 so that you can afford to put in some of those expensive bats and grab one of the top 2 pitchers on the slate. Just a maybe. Just maybe. So those are the things to watch as we continue to do our research. All right. With that said, it's time for the proverbial dong watch, where we're on the watch for some dongs, right? Meaning home runs. You know what I'm saying? Home runs all day. So we're looking for home runs are king in DFS, dingers, dongs, ding dongs. And I think I'm gonna go. Give me some Trey Mancini from Baltimore. I didn't talk about Baltimore much. I try not to talk about every fucking team when I do this stuff. But I think Baltimore could be one of the sneakier offense. Martin Perez has been a massive troll his entire MLB career has been death to my entire DFS career on days that he starts. Just never get him right. But it's in Baltimore. Baltimore should be lower owned. I do have interest in that stack. I'll talk about more about that in my article at WiseTake, which comes out day of the slate, a little later on in the day. I'm sure I'll have a write up on Baltimore. But I'm going with Trey Mancini, number 1. We will go with let's get this right. I'm gonna go with a red against Mitch Keller. I'll go with Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker against Mitch Keller as number 2. And I will go with Rafael Devers. But definitely go Bogarts. He's been hot as hell. But I'll go Rafael Devers as the third one. So that's Trey Mancini, Rafael Devers from the same game. And then we'll go Jesse Winker. Those are all fairly early, right? 635, 705. They're all fairly early. But that is today's Long Watch, man. That's who we think's going deep. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, Nation. Do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you are subscribed with notifications bell turned on. Leave me some comments, man. I like hearing back from you. I like interacting with the Nation. I like hearing what you guys think of the slate, what you guys think of the show, anything we can do to make your experience better here. So we appreciate you. Like I said, leave a comment, share the show as much as you can. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.